will.i.am, first, thank you very much for doing this interview. You know, the thing I kept thinking about when I was going to do this interview with you, I was thinking about the evolution of the Black Eyed Peas and how each member is able to go off on their own, be successful, but then when you come back as a unit, the group becomes more successful. Why do you think that your members are able to do this, and why the Black Eyed Peas can be successful every time they come back? It doesn't matter how many years they're apart.
I think because we're friends, you know. First, we're really friends, and a lot of groups in the past, you know, they let success separate them when success for us brings us closer together, because we know how fragile success is. It isn't promised tomorrow. It isn't promised 5 minutes from now. Now that you have Twitter, like, there wasn't Twitter in '98 when we launched Behind the Front. There was Napster in 2000, and we seen how that changed our careers to where, you know, we were a college group at first. Behind the Front, Bridging the Gap, we played colleges. So when Napster hit, everybody had our music for free, but we played more shows. So that, you know, shocked us, but at the same time excited us because we were able to tour more. So that brought us close to appreciate the bond that we had as a band. And then when we met Fergie in 2002, after we wrote Where's the Love and, you know, Let's Get It Started, and then we met Fergie, we saw how, you know, being open-minded and having a new member, even though your album's done, you know, how that changes the dynamics of a group and how you perform it, how you record. So that brought us close together because we had to embrace a new member. And then that was successful beyond what we ever thought it was going to be. And then we quickly did Monkey Business after the success of Where's the Love and Elefunk. And we toured to 2006. And then from that point on, it's like, hey, Fergie, let's do your record now, while we were on tour. So we all bonded to do our sister's album. And that brought us closer together. And then she went off and became Fergie, a big success. And then my record, I put out a solo record, but I didn't do the same type of, for some reason I made my record in a vacuum because I do the majority of the recording and writing. I didn't put the same brain behind my solo project the way I do the Black Eyed Peas and Fergie. I just would make songs and about, you know, because I write quick. I didn't think about the whole project the way I think of the Peas, and that didn't succeed the way people thought it was going, you know, could have succeeded. So at the time of that, everybody came in to embrace that. So then I went off and I did a whole bunch of political, some would say political, social work, community work, campaigning for Obama. And the success of Yes We Can, the group got closer, you know? And then I went off and fell in love with electro music right during the, so I was doing campaigning and going to underground clubs. That's what my 2007 and 8 looked like. Campaign, clubs. And so I applied all that information about clubs to the end. And then poof, it took off. It took off like crazy. Like if I never did Yes We Can, I never would have went to Australia to do X-Men. And if I didn't do X-Men in Australia, I never would have fell in love with, you know, Crooker's Beats, Cut Copy, and Sneaky Sound Systems. So it all, each event leads to, you know, new opportunities and perspectives, learning new perspectives in life. So I think that's the reason. That's a long definition on why our group is close.
But it sounds like, though, with this new album, Willpower, you've taken the conscious of the Black Eyed Peas where we were introduced to you, with the beats to be what became very successful. It sounds like you've kind of meshed the two together with this album.
Well, this record, album, whatever an album is nowadays, like I like to be honest with the times we're in. What the hell is an album? I know I'm putting one out, but let's be real. Who in the hell listens to albums?
Well, what's your definition of an album?
So, I'm just being, I mean, that's a real question. Who listens to albums? So that means I have to come up with a reason why you should buy my album, right? Just to put a whole bunch of songs together that only has 2 songs, 3 songs on it, why are you going to want to buy an album?
Some artists do that.
In a day and age where you could go on iTunes and pick your favorite ones. So why am I wasting money, a year and a half of recording songs, for people to pick through 3 songs? That doesn't really sound like the smartest thing to do with your time. So because time is important and people spend a lot of time, you know, on the internet, on Twitter, it's the reason why the album is titled #Willpower and not just Willpower, because willpower is a conversation. So I want to have conversations with the people, conversations about, you know, communities, science and technology, engineering and mathematics. So every time I go and do something with around philanthropy, I put #Willpower because it encompasses in an umbrella for all my activities around song making, also philanthropy. Also, you know, just mere entertainment and information that I may come across, like Higgs boson, the Higgs boson, the God particle that was discovered, that they discovered in Geneva, right? Why do I care about that? Because one time I went and did a concert in Geneva and met the particle physicists and took pictures with their kids because they liked the Black Eyed Peas. So then they invited us to go check out the particle accelerator, and then I fell in love with science. Right, just because I thought that was interesting. So when they discovered it 4 years later, I tweeted the Higgs boson, willpower, because that's what it's a stream of consciousness and connectivity around issues that move my life that I would like to share with other people, whether they're subjects, songs, pictures, movies, journalism, perspective, pop culture issues. That's what an album is to me, not just a whole bunch of songs.
But in that album, though, you like to work with established artists and new artists. How did you go about picking these artists who are going to be involved with this album?
And the only reason why I look at it that way, because I just want to be honest, right, to what the times that we're living in, and I love making music, whether I release the music or they sit in my hard drive, you know. I like to collaborate, whether they're older folks or younger folks, whether they play instruments or have hook ideas, whether they're good dancers or good drummers. You know, I like to be inspired. I get inspired by Justin. I get inspired by David Guetta, from Neo to Nicole Scherzinger to Herbie Hancock to Sergio Mendes. So music is just breathing to me, and while I breathe and make songs, if there's a chance for people to hear them while I'm having this dialogue and this conversation around issues, like right now, there's a rocket going to Mars, and it lands in a week or 2, and when the rocket's called Curiosity, and when the rocket lands, it's going to be a message from the president, and then a message from the head of NASA, Charlie Bolden. And then I wrote a song for the mission, and it'll be the first broadcast that's broadcasted from Mars next week. I couldn't talk about it a long time ago because it was secret, but now I can talk about it. And that is around the umbrella of willpower. It's inspiring kids to take an interest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and in their songs.
One last question as we wrap this up. Will there ever come a time to you, the music, will you consider it as an art form, as if trying to create the perfect sculpture, or will it always be about the beats?
Say that again?
The perfect sculpture, the perfect art form, the perfect song. Or is it a separate thing where you're looking at the beats, the dance, the movement, the party, the enjoyment? Or is it both the same thing?
Well, so a sculpture is when you're taking, you know, clay or metal and you're sculpting either something physical and interpreting it with your material. So sculpting sound, just using a metaphor, is only because of the technology that we have. And the reason why the music industry collapsed is because technology has changed. So in 10 years from now, that camera is going to be these glasses. So media is going to change. So whether they're beats or you're making beats on a laptop, 5 years from now, I'll be making beats on his phone. So music has changed ever since the dawn of the music industry. And the first form of music industry was sheet music. It's the reason why publishing is still champion today, because that's how you sold pianos. You printed, you had, through the power of the printing press, you wrote sheet music and you bought sheet music, and to play sheet music, you had to buy a piano or a guitar. That was the first industry. And then RCA came with their record players, and then, as a matter of fact, you just recorded into a horn, so there was no sculpting of songs. So, as a matter of fact, there's songs about the 1960s, there were songs about Stop the War in Vietnam. There's songs about Korean War. There's songs about the Gulf War. There's songs about all major events in society since the dawn of the music industry. But there's no songs about the Great Depression. Why? Because there was no music industry in the Great Depression. So when it comes to like, when you know, songs, sculpting songs about things that mean, people played guitars to make people dance, to make people feel good. So now people are picking up computers and making beats to make people dance, to make people feel good. So that's what music is for. It's audio that influences you to escape and enjoy the colors of frequencies and harmonies and rhythms that complement each other. That's music, right? And then there's poetry and journalism. Combining the three, that's an art form too. But I like all versions of it.
Thank you very much for this interview.
Yeah, thanks.